Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. Um, I got a really interesting comment on my last video, asking how I kept finding new jobs where my work history was just, me quitting or getting fired after a few weeks. Um, And it was the guy who asked. It was a younger guy, and it's something I probably would have asked at his age. When I was young, I was afraid to quit jobs because I was thinking, well, what about my resume, my reference and stuff, shit like that. And like I'm not I'm not encouraging anybody out there to quit jobs. Like even I would even say, like, even if the job is damaging your mental and physical health, I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to quit it. Because references are important, work history is important. I'm not trying to say that that stuff doesn't matter, but I want to say that, like, I think, like in anything in life, it depends what your priorities are. And for me, one of the benefits of not having a wife, not having kids, not having anybody I'm financially responsible for is, I can, it's not the end of the world if I'm broke. If I'm broke, there's nobody depending on me. So, and then for my own sake, I don't really care. If like, so like for me, there's like, if I can't, if I end up like can never finding a new job, it's kind of like, that's why I don't like, cause it used to be, they would say like, I had this really shitty job. I didn't quit it after 3 weeks though at CVS, and I was working it for a long time because I was kept waiting to till I found another job. I was saying, like, I'm going to stay here till I find another job because it's easier to find a job when you have a job and shit like that. But and then like that was back in my early 20s, and then I look back now and I realize, like, dude, I don't give a shit. It's like you get I once so I was, ever since, I can't remember when at some point in my mid 20s, I guess maybe my first time was with the pretzel thing, although that was just like spur of the moment. That was a true rage quit. But now it doesn't even have to be a rage quit. It's just be like, I don't like doing this, so I quit. Yeah, that's just like, I mean, I have rage quit a few jobs. I said I rage quit the pretzel job. I rage quit this weird, warehouse job that I had. Of like, my job was to prep the newspapers for the newspaper delivery guys to deliver. Um, And I mean, don't get like any, like almost all my jobs, I hated it. But then, like, so one day I got in a fight with my boss, and I was just like, "Fuck this," and I just left without saying anything. And they kept calling me for like weeks. They're probably still waiting for me to come back. The But again, like, I'm not encouraging anybody to do that. But I also don't want to go. I think sometimes it goes the other way because I read stuff online saying like, "Oh, well, you got to give notice," shit like that. You got to be professional. And the truth is, it really, I mean, it depends. I mean, definitely be cautious. I'm not telling you to quit your job without notice, but it really only depends on, like, whether you intend on using the reference or not. And then, like, for me, I really don't. The thing is, like, if it was bad enough, the relationship was bad enough that I was leaving, then I wouldn't expect them to give me a reference. And so that's really the only loss. Like, generally speaking, like, let's say you worked at some place for 3 years, and then finally it's one day you're like, dude, I mean, I've had it. I'm done. I can't go on anymore. I mean, absolutely, I would say all the same advice, like, um, stay at the job until you find a new job. If you do have to leave early, give plenty of notice. Not even just 2 weeks, but maybe 4 weeks or 6 weeks, depending on the job. Try to leave on good terms. I would say all that stuff. But if you're like somebody like me who just like doesn't give a shit and is like, fuck it, you can leave and still use that on your resume. You can, like, leave with no notice, just say I'm done, leave, and still use it on your resume, because the places, like, are generally going to be worried about liability things of bashing you, of giving you like a bad report. So I mean, yeah, you're taking a bit of a risk, but I mean, you can still use it. So I mean, like, for me, like, my my like my programming job that I had, I didn't get laid off. I just quit. I just, like my boss pissed me off and I hated the job and I was like, yeah, I just said I quit effective immediately. I'm not talking about the one that I told you guys about last night. That one, that's another thing is when you're only 3 weeks in, you've really got nothing to lose by quitting because there's no reference there. So I would actually go sort of I would say for like a short term job, unless it's like a tightly knit industry where word's going to get around, then absolutely go ahead and quit. In those first few weeks because it does. I mean, it doesn't matter. But like I said, I had a programming job that I had for like 18 months, 18, 17, 18, 19 months. I don't remember. And yeah, I quit without notice. I quit without notice in a very busy time. Like say my boss, he like I said, he sent an email that I didn't like, and it wasn't even that I was mad at him. It was just that like he wanted like this type of production, and I was like, dude, I can't do what he wants, and I just don't feel like it. I just don't feel like it. So I just typed him an email and I said, um, I'm resigning my position effective immediately. Mm. And he called me back and he was cool. He was cool about it actually, even though we didn't always have the greatest relationship. But I mean, certainly, I mean, he didn't ask me to stay, and if he had, I would have said no. Um, but I continued to use that on my resume. I didn't use him as a reference, obviously, but I had, there should always be like even if it's something you leave, there should always be people who that you can use as references, right? I mean, like I've always had people to use as references. Maybe they weren't ex bosses, but they were ex coworkers and stuff. And again, if you're not that high in the corporate world, or how are we doing for time? If you're not that high in the corporate world or whatever, these it doesn't really matter. I mean, they just want like references to show that like you're not a serial killer and stuff. And I think that basically though, it just gets to the freedom of working these kind of lower tier jobs. Because they're used to people coming in and out, and it doesn't matter. And also, I mean, the thing is, it's like so for somebody to ask like how you keep getting jobs, like when I've been getting fired and quitting like all these jobs, it's like, well, why do you think I'm in sales? The thing is like there's no the reason that sales trainer Benjamin Dennehy, I know I've mentioned him before, but he pointed out, he said, like, salespeople are losers. You're only in sales because you couldn't make it doing anything else. Because sales is the one job that's always hiring. If you have a pulse, you can get a sales job. There's nobody out there who was saying, like, as a kid, was saying, I want to be a salesman when I grow up. Maybe we didn't all want to be athletes or something, but some of us wanted to be doctors, lawyers, accountants, politicians, businessmen, and stuff. Nobody wants to be a salesperson. You do it because you need something that's hiring. And so for me, I quit my job today, and like I said, this was a good paying job. This was a job that was paying, like, if you do everything right, you're getting like around $30 an hour, part time, from home. The hours are, they can be you got to show up for your shifts, but they were flexible. Super supportive environment. Got like a week of paid training before it started. Now you had to actually finish your first week of work before you could get the paid training. You actually got paid for your paid training, but once you did, they would pay you. I mean, I got paid for it. Um, so super supportive environment, and beyond just a super supportive environment for everybody, like they even gave me feedback saying like, oh, Baldface 8020, we listen to your calls, we love it. You're going to be a rock star. You're such a natural on the phone. You're great at building rapport, stuff like that. So like a lot of stuff that would like that basically it's got all the things that like supposedly people would look for in a job, right? That they would want to stay, because other jobs that I've walked or quit out of, I could say that like, well, I didn't like this, like XYZ of what management did or whatnot. And don't get me wrong, like yesterday probably did push me off the edge. We're in the company meeting because we had these mandatory meetings that we have to go to once a week, and they did kind of let us have it, saying like, they basically said like, except for a few people, you guys aren't like following the scripts right, shit like that. I think I talked about that in my last video. But certainly wasn't like they singled me out. But I was already stressed by it, and then they were saying shit like, we're really going to start cracking down on you, like on people like not reading the script properly, shit like that. And I just it just kind of got back to it. So the thing is, this was interesting, right? Because it was like a thing is everything was there. Work from home. Although I don't like working from home, but some people do, and it's generally seen as a perk. I like some distance between my work life and my home life. I feel like if any type of work from home, I kind of feel like I'm working all the time. Um, so, but so you had but good hours. Like I mean, yeah, I was working more hours than I wanted, 30 to 34 hours a week. But I but but I mean, still, that's not bad, right? 30 to 34. It's still only a part time job, and the um I mean, I would say like the main thing is that you had to do some weekends. Not that I really cared, but yeah, pretty. I mean, pretty consistent hours. The pay again was good. Like I said, you can't complain about the pay because you're gonna be if you're doing everything right, you're gonna be making around 30, and if you're not doing things right, you're gonna be making around 20. So, the good money, and all you're doing is sitting there making and answering calls. So, sounds easy enough, right? And then you've on top of that, a lot of these jobs, they'll say like, if you read like, why is there such turnover in call centers? They'll say like, oh, because it's like abusive management or whatever. And no, nothing like that here. The management was, I mean, like I said, they kind of got into it with us. They laid into us a bit in the last meeting, but it wasn't. It's not like they were like abusive or anything. They were just critical, probably more critical than I would be. But on the other hand, I know, like they've got numbers to hit, so it's tough, because everybody's under pressure. Everybody's under pressure to hit their numbers, and I get that. I mean, and like I said, they were always cool with me. So it's a weird position, right? So I think like to get everything you wanted out of that, but I just hated the actual job so much. So I don't know if it's like it's something wrong with me because every other job that I quit, like the pretzel thing, guy pissed me off. Fuck that. The um the newspaper place, that job sucked. Who cares? Um, the mortgage place, that one was a little bit different. I think that they were just out of line asking me to call that guy back, and it was just too stressful. So again, fuck that. Um, I mean, I can't even remember the jobs I quit. The pizza place, I didn't even quit. I just got fired. Although I would have quit, which because I obviously can't deliver pizzas. Um, uh, what else did I forget. But you get the idea. Like every other job that I quit, you know, um, I always had a good reason for it. I always had a good reason, like this job sucks and I'm being mistreated, or this job sucks and I've been pissed off, or something like that. There was nothing. This time though, I had the pay and the working conditions and stuff, and I still couldn't make it past 3 weeks. And and it's serious. Like, and you can say like, well, Ballface 80/20, you're in a position where you could quit and not starve to death. It literally, I mean, maybe you're not going to believe me. It wouldn't have made any difference. If I was going to starve to death from quitting this job, I still would have done it. There's just no way I was going to continue to do it. So, yeah, no, I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't know if I'm the problem or what. It does seem like they've got high turnover. If of all of the three people I started with are already all gone, but two of them didn't even make it through training, so I don't know if you count them. And but I mean, it would explain. I mean, it's like I said, if they're always hiring new people, maybe there's something going on there. I know call centers in general have high turnover, but yeah, no, I mean, so I don't know. But anyway, I already went out. The reason that I quit today is because I went out this morning and interviewed for a new job. It was like yesterday before work, I was thinking, I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I'm just because my initial plan was to stay for a few months at least and then make a decision. But I was like, I can't do this. I need to find a job like immediately. So I went and looked for jobs, and then I used some salesmanship to actually call up instead of just sending an application like I normally do it, this time I sent the application because you have to do that part. But then right after I sent the application, I called, and asked to be put through with, whoever, I did some research and find out whoever was like in charge over there. And I was able to come in for an interview today and get hired on the spot. So, I came home, called out my manager and quit, and it was super awkward. I felt horrible about it because, like I said, they hadn't done anything wrong. And I just told them kind of what I just told you guys. I said, like, super, really supportive environment. Anybody would be lucky to work here. But when the actual work itself, I hate it. I hate it. And I can't continue doing it, so I'm leaving. And again, he was cool about it. But the thing is, this job is like, how was I able to get that job that I got today so quickly? The answer is because it was a sales job. So it's another type of sales job. Am I going to be doing? Am I going to do any better here in this other sales job than in the one that I just passed up? The one that I just gave up already had everything, right? Then this new job pays a little bit better, but and hopefully and it's not work from home, which again is something I wanted. And, hopefully I don't have to deal with the bullshit of setting up these appointments. I just hate setting up these appointments. I really, really hate it. So I don't know. We'll have to see, because now I'm going to be selling insurance. So it's like, is that going to be, and so I'm not going to be doing appointments at all. I'm going to be calling people up, building the rapport, and trying to sell the insurance. So like, is that going to be better or worse? I don't know. I really don't know. And if it doesn't work out, then where does that leave me? I guess, well, I mean, like I said, I'm working 2 sales jobs right now. And, I still have high hopes for the other one that's eventually going to take off. I'm not really having the problems with that because that's B2B sales, which I think is a lot easier. Because I would much rather call up a business owner and just be like, hey, can we get you on the phone talking about your digital marketing and stuff? Like that to me is not that bad. And then when you actually do have the meetings, I love it. I think they're a lot of fun because you get to see what their problems are and explain how you can help. And maybe a lot of fun is the wrong word, but some of them really are cool to talk to. So I would say, like, if you're interested in sales and you're asking, like, what's the, like, most interesting type of sales to be in, I would say that, where you're dealing with business owners, and it's where you're dealing with the consumers that it can get tough, because, like, a lot of consumers are really stupid. So unless you're, dealing with higher ends, and again, unless you want to deal with a bunch of objections, like, how much is this going to cost me? It's like, dude, shut up. Shut the fuck up. I'm not going to tell you how much it's going to cost, all right? Because, I'm sorry, I know this whole video has been rambling, but here's the thing, right? In B2B means business to business, by the way. In B2B sales, usually they're not going to ask you that, how much it's going to cost, because they know the deal. They know that, okay, you will give them a quote, but in exchange, you want a chance to present, the value of your company. They get that. And if they push, you can just tell them that in so many words. They look, dude, because they know exactly what they're doing. You say, dude, if I just gave quotes to everybody who wanted them, I would never do anything else. I'm happy to give you a quote, but you got to let me present the value of what we do first, and then I'll give you a quote. And they get that because the business owners have been through it. They either have done it themselves or their purchasing decisions have been made in that way. So they get it. The consumers really don't understand. Like, why can't you just give me a price? I'm talking about even smart people. Like my best friend, I remember when he was shopping for cars, he was furious that he was reaching out, sending emails to these car dealers, to these car salesmen, saying can you give me a quote on this car? And they would all say, yeah, I can give you a quote, but you got to come in for a test drive. And then, he can be kind of a petty person, and he would send back emails to them and saying forget it, I'm not interested. And some of them would even respond to him and say, well, contact me when you're serious about your purchase, and kind of, a little miffed, I guess, and which is certainly what I would have wanted to send back to him. But, really, you shouldn't do that stuff. You should, not so much because it's unprofessional. It's more that if a prospect is getting under your skin like that, you aren't detached enough from the job. It's just be like, you're going to have prospects, tell you bullshit and stuff like that all the time. And you just kind of got to be like, it's got to be something. It's not enough to act like you're not affected. You have to be not affected. Because if you're not affected, then it's gonna take a toll on you, and you're gonna burn out. It's for you, not for them. What was I talking about again? But anyway, no, consumers are fucking morons. They don't understand the sales process. They really don't get, like, just give me a quote, and then if I like the number, I'll talk to you. It's like, no. Doesn't work like that. You are not getting a quote without speaking to me, okay? It's not gonna happen. All right. And I'll tell you this: there's anybody who does give you a quote without speaking to them, that quote is bullshit. They're giving you a bullshit quote so they can get you to they're gonna bait and switch you with it, and then they're gonna give you some lowball number. By the way, that actually happened to my friend with the car thing when he was buying a new car. That's someplace got him in because they bait and switched him on the they gave him a quote, a really low number, a number that they weren't going to honor, and they got him in there for the test drive. And then once they got him in, he's talked about the price, and they said, "Oh, wait, we can't honor that price anymore." But like they just wanted him in there, so he walked out that way. So look, that's that probably works to get them some sales. It didn't work on my friend. That probably works to get him some sales, but I'm not going to do things that way. That's not right. To lie to somebody like that, because it's not their fault. They don't know how the sales process works. So, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I guess the point I'm trying to make that, about I talked about why I'm not afraid of quitting jobs. But the thing is, I think that and I'm not saying you should go into sales and stuff, but I have had people ask me, like, how do I get into sales? Like, what experience do I need? And the answer is none. None. I mean, again, there's the only kind of person who goes into sales is a failure. He or she failed at something else. That's it. That's the only reason. I mean, I've worked with tons of people in sales, and that's it. And that's what they know. There's a super high turnover because sales is filled with people like me, people who can't hold jobs, people who didn't make it doing anything else and stuff. So look, if you want to do sales, I mean, seriously, this is so fucking easy. Like, I mean, I'm actually kind of jealous of some of the younger guys who are they're in their early 20s and they already know that they want to get into sales. Dude, listen to me. Go on Indeed, all right? Go on Indeed and just do appointment setter. Now, don't take the appointment setting job that I did. Although maybe you'd like that one. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm fucked up. But look for something like B2B appointment setter. Okay? You can go to you'll go to some call center, someplace downtown, like someplace in some central city or whatever. Or there's call centers all over the place, and some places will even let you do it from home. I think for your first sales job, it'll be easier to do it in an office because you have that like support close to you, and just do the B2B point setting, and that's all you'd have to do. You don't even have to sell anything. All you have to do is call people up. You get the secretary. Then on the name on the CRM says the guy who you're trying to get through to is Bob McMullen, and you say, "Put me through with Bob, please." And then she's going to say, then a couple of things could happen. A couple of things she could say, like, may I ask who's speaking, stuff like that. This is where you have to, it's getting past the gatekeeper can be tough. But first of all, the place will tell you how to do it. They'll teach you different ways to do it. So, I mean, for me, it's just about giving as little information as possible unless they really dig in. But really, you follow up enough times, they're going to let you through. Sometimes, but anyway, let's just go to it. You say, put me through with Bob, please. And then she's going to say like something like, may I ask who's speaking? And then you just say Ballface 8020. You know what I mean? Don't use my name, obviously. Use your name. You just say, but I would meet Ballface, tell him this is Ballface 8020. Thanks. Something like that. That's going to be enough a lot of the time. So you don't need to psych yourself out. That's going to be enough a lot of the time. And if it isn't, you're getting paid by the hour anyway, and you don't care. But then she's like, and sometimes you don't even have to say that. I mean, but sometimes, yeah, you don't even have to say that, but that'll be enough a lot. And that'll get you through to some people. And then when they get there, you'll be, whatever you're telemarketing for is something like you're telemarketing for, I don't know, like new uniforms or anything. So you would just say something like, Bob, hello, this is Ballface 8020 from, XYZ Uniform Company. I was just calling to see if, where you guys are with your uniform situation right now. Are you guys currently looking to, I mean, you're gonna have to work on your pitch for it. Are you guys currently looking to, um, place a new order or something like that, or switch? Are you guys, considering alternative suppliers, something like that? It would be relevant to your industry. That's it. That's all you have to do. And it's like, it may seem, because like, so a long time ago, not a long time ago, but a few years ago before I did, I would have said like, I could never do that. That's like too traumatizing, because they're going to say no, they're going to yell at you, they're going to hang up and shit like that. It's like, dude, you will not care at all after the first 2 or 3 calls. By the 10th time that nobody answers the phone, you will be desperate for somebody to pick up the phone and yell and curse you off, because anything is better than just another, going to voicemail again. And, and then forever. And what's amazing, here's the amazing thing to do. You do like 100 of those dials, you're going to talk to some people who are going to be like, oh yeah, actually, we are thinking about switching uniform suppliers. And it's like, it's just so hard to believe, but it's just a matter of, if you call enough people, apparently there's somebody out there who wants to buy anything. And then that's it. That's all you. And then you just say, okay, well, like, would you be willing to meet with our like person there at this time and stuff? And this isn't like, pulling teeth like it would be for me when to set up these appointments for the thing I was doing. This is B2B. These people are used to meeting with people. They'll be like, oh yeah, and then you set it right up. That's it. And you're gonna get a nice commission check for every time it does. And you're gonna hit. And you're not gonna just be successful. You're gonna be successful multiple times a day. And if you don't like it, you can quit, and nobody's going to care, because the job turnover is so high, and you can go right across the street and do the exact same thing for the exact same money. So, if that is your concern, if you're concerned about that, look, I hope you do something better. But if it's just you and you don't have anybody to support, and you're worried like about your work history, in sales, nobody cares. There will always be a job for you. If you are willing to pick up the phone and knock on doors, there will always be a job. All right? You may not like it. You may not last at it. You may not make as much money as you want, but you'll always have a job. So, yeah. And then of course, if you're not, but the thing is, you can go beyond sales. Let's say you're not in sales. Let's say you're in something like retail or fast food or something. These kind of like shitty jobs that nobody wants, you don't really have to worry about your history, because nobody wants those jobs. As long as you can do them, there'll always be somebody who's willing to hire you. Unless we're in like some super economic crisis. But if we're in a super economic crisis, your work history is not going to save you. I mean, so yeah. But again, I'm not absolutely. Stick with the jobs, don't quit if you can avoid it, even if it's a shitty job. But you don't have to stress about it either. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry for the meandering video. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next. Yeah. Now I will see you in the next.